This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 502 for the week of Monday, January 15th, 2018. My name is Zach.
And my name is Steve.
And on today's podcast, we have very special guest translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump, Stephen Paul's with us once again. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, Zach. It's going pretty good. Very hot here.
We also have, from the Anime News Network, also our anime recap host, we have Sam Leach on. How's it going, Sam?
Hey, guys. It's very cold here.
We have to have our weather check at the top of every show. We also have our editor-in-chief, Kelly. How's it going, Kelly?
Hi, how are you? It is also cold here, just to keep with the weather theme.
And last but certainly not least, we have Dennis, our former merchandise reporter, cosplay reporter, and vintage anime podcast host. How's it going, Dennis?
Hello there. It's going well. Weather-wise, it is kind of muggy, but not too cold, so we're all right.
So, I mean, what is not too cold like there? What temperature is that?
Like 68, maybe?
Yeah, high 60s.
Okay.
You.
Sam has the most right to get angry at that.
Very true.
I could say
-3.
I was going to say it's like 15 here, and he would be like, you. At that. Anyway.
It was 30 recently, and then the cold came back.
Okay, let's please get away from the weather. It's a very depressing subject. We are Edless today. Not headless, but Edless. It's similar. I could understand your confusion. But Steve is here with us. And Steve, your new show came out last night. I don't know if you want to talk about that before we get into things.
Sure, let's talk about it real quick. But yeah, I did storyboards on a new animated series on Adult Swim. It's called Hot Streets. Has a lot of people from Rick and Morty and Robot Chicken behind it. If you like those shows and you like weird shit, you'll love this show. It's akin to like a lot of the original Adult Swim animated series from like the golden age, maybe, if you'd refer to Adult Swim as such. But it's a lot like that, and you'll really enjoy it. And you should watch it anyway. It's awesome.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, it's really cool your dream is coming true. So before we get into the show, we are going to be talking about chapter 891, They Believe in Me. And Sam, what's our anime episode this week?
It is 821, The Chateau in Turmoil, Luffy to the Rendezvous.
And before we get started, our Patreon at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast has some really awesome things that you guys should check out if you haven't, including over 3.5 hours of stuff from episode 500 that we didn't have time to put in our 4.5 hour episode a few weeks back. But the reason I'm mentioning Patreon is that we are inching ever closer to that $1,000 threshold. And I want to try and get everyone to get over that mark, and hopefully we could do something cool once we do. I don't have anything specific planned, but there's a few extra little... Actually, no, I do have something special that I could release once we hit $1,000. I just remembered. So bring us over that finish line there. Go to patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. I also want to mention that our the manga recap will be off, since the manga will be off next week. And so, Stephen, we're doing something special, as we often do during these breaks.
Something special and significantly delayed due to the holidays and all the other stuff. We're finally going to be going through the volume 87 recap, which will not just be the usual SBS stuff, but that also has the full results of the character popularity poll that they did last year, and they found some interesting ways to spice up that kind of info dump that they give you in the back, and so we're gonna have some fun with that, I think.
We also should have maybe one or two of the interviews that were not on episode 500 on that episode, maybe some other special stuff as well. So you're gonna want to tune in. That's next week. But I think that covers everything for now. You guys ready to get into the manga recap?
Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the manga recap for chapter 891, They Believe in Me. Steve, what do we believe in on this front page?
Well, it's the Saga of the Self-Proclaimed Straw Hat Fleet, Volume 23, and it's Leo. assist the town in reconstruction, and we have him leading the charge of the reconstruction on a dog. And
The dog looks like it's out of a Disney or Warner Brothers. I think
The
maybe,
dog looks
maybe Warner
okay
Brothers.
between that dog and Chubby Webbers. I feel like there's a lot of weird dogs lately. So,
so you're the dog, Steven. You're the dog.
That's true.
that is true. Yeah, I guess so.
Chubby Webbers will be everywhere.
I feel bad Ed isn't on this week, where we get Tontata speak, which is one of his favorite things, I assume.
I find it really funny that the Tontatas have become pirates, and their first act is community service.
They're pirating wrong, Tontatas.
Yeah.
And they're still in Dressrosa here, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because Tank is there.
Yeah,
and he's
plateau up on the top.
Yes, the many layers of the plateau that we all remember. So
Shut up!
Ingrained
Looks like a
into
cat.
our
Yeah.
memory.
I have PTSD.
I'm not getting war flashbacks from that. But yeah, we have the construction workers, we have Tank, and of course he's holding none other than the infamous Flapper.
No one
Oh, remember
remembers
Flapper?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Not
So,
Flapper.
anything you guys want to discuss on this? There's also the Popeye Tontata lifting some logs there. What's his name again?
Bluto.
I think that's
No, it's not Bluto from the bar.
Bomber, Bomba.
All right,
I'm
cool.
sorry.
Yeah.
I look forward to more Tontatas, and I want to see the rest of this dog.
Is that a Tontata holding all those crates in the air, or is there like a
I think there's
pulley?
like 3 of them.
Well, they're super
Okay.
strong.
Yeah,
They are.
They are, as we learned and immediately forgot. Why don't we start the chapter, Steve? What's going on?
Sure. I guess I gotta do the Ed voice. Flower Town, Wheat Island. We hear a crack and an eek and another crack and a whoa. And as the mirrors, I guess, all over the island are breaking. I think this is our first time also seeing Flower Town, and it's pretty great. I love their giant lard lad donut.
Does it have a face? It kind of looks like its
Maybe?
mouth is open.
Oh yeah, it does at
it
the
does.
top. Oh god.
Which makes him even better.
Oh, yeah. Also, it's the perfect town to build a monorail in. There's a lot of built-in breaks all around. It's fantastic. So, yeah, this is Katakuri's island, then, I assume, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that donut is resting easy because he's probably thinking, sure glad Mama went to Nuts Island. But we have this guy with who's pretty much Trap Jaw from Masters of the Universe saying, "Yipes! That gave me a heart attack." As we get some of the citizens commenting on the whole situation. This one guy here with fisticuffs saying, "Is this Straw Hat Luffy guy really that tough?" And the other guy's like, "Yeah, it must be if his Mirror World fight against Master Katakuri's taking so long."
Wait, before we move on from this very important scene, are these like failed superheroes or something?
They look like it. They really do.
They do,
That's got
right?
a cape.
Yeah, one has a cape and gloves. The other one's like in a spandex outfit, the girl in the back. The other one's wearing like a Viking hat and gloves. And I don't know what the hell's happening with the guy in the left there, but
I want to know more about them. I'm
if there's
I'm
one
compelled.
thing One Piece will definitely give you, Steve, is a lot of information about background characters you'll never see again. So don't
Just
worry.
wait.
Yeah.
Just wait
For
for
now.
SBS to answer all your burning questions.
Yeah, unless people ask, what do their wieners look like? You know, that's like
They
That's
all
what
have
takes-
capes.
That's precedent.
Please listen in next week for our full SBS recap of Volume 87.
we go back to Whole Cake Island and we have a stopwatch and it's obviously Baron Chicken Man. What's
Count Niwatori.
Nimatori? Nima or
Niwa.
Niwa? Niwatori. So he says, "Le 9:30."
Wait a second though. That's a human hand. And then down below, he's got
Whoa.
his bird wing.
I
Good catch,
Hope-
Stephen.
hope
there a
Oda
chance
got
that somebody
fired
else
for that blunder.
Who says that's his hand?
Yeah, maybe Niwatori's like peering over Montdoor's hand and just narrating for us. Because it was definitely Niwatori, because that's why he's doing the French thing.
Yeah, but in the
Right.
panel
Yeah.
below that, it looks like he's still holding the watch.
Yeah.
But that's his other hand. That He's holding it
yeah.
with his right hand, and then his
Now
left hand.
that's the bigger mistake here, I think.
He's got.
I'm really hoping just a subordinate just walked up and been like, "Sir," and it's like, "Oh,
Thank you for holding my pocket watch. It is
it is
extremely
late, half
difficult.
past 9 o'clock."
He's
Thank
achieved
you.
the rank where he doesn't need to hold his own pocket watch.
Well, he needs a human hand to hold it for him because the wing doesn't really do it.
Mhm. And then we get some banter here. It's like, how could this last for so long? We're still getting Iwan reports of broken mirrors. And
Yeah. It's the man.
calm yourself.
It's the
Well,
bird.
Well, shut up, because we have Stussy first saying, "Do you want to hear something fascinating?" And he's like, "Don't do this. You'll lower their chances of survival further." And that's big news. Morgan's, by the way, who's back. We're happy to see him back. And Niwatori, right? Did I get it?
Mm-hmm.
He says, "What is it, Madame Stussy?" And she says, "I hear that Tamate box was a gift from Straw Hat Luffy." "Yes. Do you realize that was the cause of the blast?" "What?"
I wonder why
Yeah.
CP0 is trying to provoke Big Mom further, I guess is the question.
Well, I think the world government would much rather the emperors, or not say the emperors, but the emperors and other pirates take themselves out. You know.
Meanwhile, the newsman just
Also-
wants the most dramatic story possible.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say. I mean, she's sipping her tea, so like she's just stirring the shit right now. Like that's
Yeah.
Definite.
Stussy stirring the shit.
Sure.
It's alliterative.
Wanna use that
That's
for a
all. That's what I want to use. I mean, shit is a word we could all say now, right? So it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
After-
CNN
after-
do it.
Yeah, CNN did that a lot more.
And now we cut to the Miro world, and I must comment on Oda's great use of a different kind of Oda box. It's in the shape of a mirror. That's some fantastic detail. And we have a mysterious figure floating in, legs kind of, what is this illustration here? Puyung-ing back and forth. I don't know. Let's see here what she's like. "Ah, yes, another day of pristine, cool perfection from Brother Katakuri. Heart emoji."
Mhm.
All the girls talk with heart emojis. We talked about this last week, guys. Come on. So what are you waiting for, Sniper? And this doofus with a crossbow with a scope on it is like, "I've been trying to hit him, but for some reason," and we have a nice view of Luffy in the scope, and then poof, just disappears out of range. And
I like the kind of doubling up effect on the scope, so you really get to you can imagine like the scope's kind of like moving and trying to.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's cool.
Stay on target.
Use the force, random schmuck. We haven't. Oh, I don't. Have we coined? Oh, well, they're not the homies, because I don't think we've ever coined a term for the non-family members involved with.
The thing is, there's all these different little groups.
I thought we were calling them the guys or something.
Those
Is
guys.
that really what we came up with? There's the home.
Guys.
Oh no, we did it because Oda already took the homies, so we just call them guys now.
guys.
Yeah,
So, but guys.
make it less.
So anyway.
original. Yeah, please.
He's just like, he's so fast, I can't. Damn it! And then he gets stabbed with a fork. And it's
Shank.
like, enough of your incompetence. Larg. Just, I have 41 older. Sorry, now I have a voice. So it's like, I have 41 older brothers and 40 whom selected me for Best Sistress Award. I'm everyone's favorite heart emoji.
You've been living too long in LA, Steve.
No, I'm just. This is the real me coming out.
I was
On the other,
Go ahead.
excuse me, I was reciting the manga dialogue. On the other hand, Brother Katakuri is the target of admiration for all 38 of his little sisters. Not to mention every last little brother. I have so many rivals for his attention. As the rest of these guys just, like, I assume are just laughing at the dude that got stabbed. With
Yeah,
a
that
fork.
bear especially. He's really happy about it.
He's going to need stitches.
Yeah, Dennis, I want to hear you continue in this voice.
Everybody wants to be Brother Katakuri's favorite, but I am like the truly favorite sister, the woman who'll be the king of the little sisters. King? Sure. All right.
Well, we're drawing the King of the Pirates parallel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That's the
getting
joke
at.
here. Yeah.
I'm wondering if Katakuri is the one older brother that didn't vote for her.
That would be the best.
I will be king of the little sisters.
I mean, Queen.
If I can help him here, I'll score major points. Heart emoji. And we get introduced to the 33rd daughter of Charlotte, who is only age 15, Charlotte Flamp.
Well, this has
Or
been
Flampe.
corrected already.
Oh,
Yeah, this has been corrected on Twitter by the what do they call it? Ichiro staff or whatever it
Yeah.
is, the official editor's Twitter account, where they said that this should be the 36th daughter of Charlotte, and it was causing some stir because I guess what Pudding is the 35th
Yeah.
daughter, I think, and so people were saying like, oh well, if she's the 33rd and she's 15, then that means Pudding has to be under 15. So yeah, there was a lot of uproar about that. So I guess that'll get fixed for the.
Oda got in a lot of
the content.
controversy for a character that shouldn't even exist. I'm sorry, I should save my opinions for the end. But please continue.
And then her guys, I guess, are in unison going, we understand Lady Flamp is Flampe, right?
Yeah, it's Flampe. So that's the other thing is like it's very similar to, and I feel like he was intending to refer to flambe, like for desserts and stuff. But he did not spell it that way. He spelled it flampe with a P instead of a B. And I wasn't sure like if that was supposed to be a mistake or like he was trying to say flambe and he just got the wrong word, or if he was trying to like put a little spin on it. Maybe he thought with a P sounded cuter or something, but that's what we got.
Yeah, I don't know if it has anything to do with all the gum that she's chewing or what. So
Yeah.
figure that out. Guys are like, we want Katakuri to like us too. Ugh, nobody cares about you. But more to the point, I don't like seeing him struggle this much. He must be perfect at like all times, or I'll be very disappointed. And
Maybe she's related
Sorry.
to Pound because she has the same accent as him.
Oh, sorry, I got it wrong. It's supposed to be Charlotte Flumpy Space Princess.
Oh my glob.
Let's see. All the
Write that one down.
I am.
The guys are going, yeah, very true. But I wouldn't say he's struggling. It's just that the other guy's sticking around. He's taken fatal damage several times over. And we see this really nice spread of just sheer utter destruction that we got from Katakuri and Luffy's fight so far. See, continuing on, he's lost tons of blood along the way. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Flampe talking. He's lost tons of blood along the way, but somehow he keeps standing. It's really funny. Laughable heart emoji.
Oh my god, that is so funny.
I was gonna say that she seemed like the person who would just say, "That's so funny."
That's so funny.
You'll get what's coming to you, you filthy bloodied ape. And Katakuri looks like he's doing his more awakened Mochi powers as Luffy's struggling to stand up and breathing quite heavily.
I hope we haven't lost our entire audience.
Everybody loves that vocal fry.
Steve.
It's I went from not caring about this character at all to I'm like, oh hey, we got a bit here. It's Dellinger 2018.
Yeah.
The crowd loves
cosplay.
it. Yeah.
New cosplay for Steve. Go.
Yes.
Oh my god. That would be great.
So, we get some limb of Katakuri comes crashing down. I assume it's a forearm.
Yeah.
And Luffy hoops and twirls out of the way, kind of cartwheels, springs back, and he goes for a kick towards Katakuri, who already moves super fast out of the way, and then reappears behind him, creates a bunch of small little mochi donuts. Luffy kind of leans in later to trying to dodge. And then we get all these mochi donuts turn into fists, and they all go swinging at Luffy like a Gatling attack. Really cool panel, and Luffy's just caught in the middle of it, just getting pulverized. But we get a close up on Katakuri here, and he says, "Did he try to dodge?" And we get this amazing shot of Luffy looking back at Katakuri, just giving him those stank eyes, just that death look while mid punch to his face. It's great. And this one's a little hard to read, but I think this is Katakuri coming in, trying to give Luffy a big kick amidst punches, and he just says, "Why doesn't the light go out?" And we get another close up on Katakuri, but also Luffy and his determination. It's really cool. Some great looks from Luffy. He's gonna mess you up, man.
Dennis?
Mm-hmm. Continuing in those eyes.
The light, the heat.
Those eyes.
I am.
Those eyes.
1,000 churches.
So Katakuri does give him a kick, and using his mochi powers still sticks Luffy, like, I guess, into a wall. And it's we see the next consecutive panels, Luffy's trying to punch his way out of the mochi, but it's not giving way. So Luffy instead has a bright idea to break the breakable wall that he's stuck to instead. As
very convenient that it happens to be like a single wall rather than just like the very edge of the mirror world.
Yeah, it looks like it's either a column or like entering a hallway or something. But yeah, you see Luffy struggle to breathe, like wah, just trying to catch his breath and everything. Katakuri then says, "I don't understand you. Even falling to the ground is a source of shame." As he also struggles to take a breath, Katakuri's exerting himself more than he would have thought, especially in this fight. Since this is round 3 that these guys have been going at?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So struggling to get up, Luffy instead is met with another one of Katakuri's fist attacks. He tries to roll back after getting smacked with an oof. As he continues trying to get up, he's still getting hit a couple more times, and then he just gives out a yell of like, ah! I don't know, desperation maybe, or of anger.
Right here.
Super rubber.
Super rubber? Sam.
And we turn the page, and Katakuri is continuing to talk. "No wonder you're frustrated. You tried to stand, and I swept you off your feet. You tried a left punch, so I hit your left shoulder. You tried a right punch, so I hit your right shoulder. The results are that you are a useless fool who feels nothing but frustration." He's still breathing heavily. Luffy's really getting to him. "This is what happens when I can read your actions ahead of time." And Luffy he's breathing. He's closing his eyes. I imagine this is something that Rayleigh told him.
Yeah.
It looks meditative.
Yeah. And Rayleigh's saying, he's kind of focusing his concentration as he remembers Rayleigh's words. There's a will to every attack, a presence. Don't just strike out blindly, Luffy. And then the next panel is this boom, this awesome clash between giant fists. Luffy's grizzly magnum or whatever we call that, and Katakuri's even bigger fist. I like how the fact that Katakuri's like his sort of gear third equivalents are like very angular, so it kind of looks stronger than Luffy's. And we get this little panel of Katakuri and Luffy's reactions as they continue to clash, and then bam, Katakuri just hits Luffy with a kick, and just like it was no big deal. But even though Katakuri is still coming out on top, he seems impressed by Luffy. He's thinking, yes, it's true. Very infrequently, he sees the same future that I do, and he's very taken aback by this.
I think actually this is just the follow through of that collision that like in those two little panels of them. It's sort of like them clashing, and then Katakuri follows through and knocks Luffy backwards. That's how I read it.
Well, because it's the punches clashing, and then it's Katakuri's leg.
That's his leg stretching back.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Oh, that he's kicking him on the side or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
well, because
Okay.
Katakuri is like his big fist is like kind of remote from his body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
that, like,
and then you
that
can
donut
kick
thing
Luffy
that
from
he's
another
been doing.
angle.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I guess I thought that was like his jacket or something like that, but I
Because that
guess
big
you're
shadow
right.
should be his hand.
Right.
Wow,
in the
that is a
corner.
confusing panel because I read
Yeah,
it the
it
same
is.
way as Steven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly.
So Luffy lands and Katakuri says, "Stay down. We know all about your plan. Cacao Island at 1:00. But your friends will be crushed before they actually reach the island. They will be greeted by my brother's massive fleet, and the same fate awaits you if you should somehow leave this place." And Luffy, who's heavily breathing, says, "But I'll appear from the mirror anyway." Katakuri looks puzzled. "You make it sound like this is bound to happen." And then we move scenes on Beige's ship at sea. "We did it. It's finished. The ultimate wedding cake to stop Big Mom." And all the chefs and the fire tank pirates are standing around this gigantic wedding cake, which I wasn't sure if it was an exact replica, but Ash checked and it actually is. So not only did he remake the flavor, but he also remade the exact look and feel of the original.
But ideally,
cake.
it should taste even better than the original.
I would wager Sanji's making it, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm biased. And then we have some of the fire tank pirates below, I love this word. "What a delightful smell. I'm getting faint. I don't know what else to say. And we didn't need to put in any poison," as he holds his baby.
That's Capone.
That's definitely Capone. And "this taste is going to send you to heaven, Big Mom."
And that's Vito.
Yes. And on the next page, Pudding slumps against the side of the ship here, and the chefs are exclaiming, "Oh, Lady Pudding!" And she's just glad that they finished it in time, and the rest of them are all on cue. They're being copycats. They're all passing out as well. Just to underline what a harrowing cooking process it was. And Sanji is turning to thank Pudding and Chiffon for their help. Couldn't have happened without you. And Pudding kind of covers up her face because to hide her blushing. Although I gotta say, I don't know if it's just like this zoom angle, but her eyes look really off center. Like, kind of looks like she has a bit of a wall-eyed look there. But
yeah, I think it's the way she's covering it. Well,
yeah,
maybe it's hard to tell. Yeah.
I feel like you would be surprised at how often eyes can end up unsymmetrical. You just wouldn't notice.
Yeah. But he tells them, now that with this cake, we're guaranteed that we can save our crew. And then we get a return of Evil Pudding, who jumps up to her feet and looms over Sanji and says, "Are you sure about that? Yes, okay, we made the cake, but what if your friends are already dead? And if not, there's still no guarantee that she'll love the cake. It's a waste of time even taking this cake to her. Sanji, dear." Heart emoji. And so return of Evil Pudding, and then a return of Chiffon chastising her. Wrong, that's not right. Oh gosh, wrong. What am I saying? Oh geez. And Sanji seems to think about this for a moment, and he says, "Well, whatever the case may be, I still have to go." And then we get this little kind of cross-cutting effect here, where Sanji is explaining, they think I'll make the greatest cake ever and use it to stop Big Mom because, and meanwhile in the mirror world, Luffy is continuing his thought about popping out of the mirror. They think I'll beat you and appear in the mirror because, and then both of them together simultaneously say, "They believe in me." Quoting the titular line from the chapter. So
and
yeah, if you had
I think Brian pointed out. I think Brian has a piece to tweet that says, "It's like their other eyes. They've got the other eyes covered."
Oh yeah.
That's pretty nice. Good. So yeah, if you needed any more, underlining of the point that Luffy and Sanji are the ones who are going to save the day this time, here you go.
Believe in me who believes in you. So we go to the final page of the chapter, and we see Chopper in Monster Point, making the noise that he makes in Monster Point. And there's a cool kind of effect because we'll see why, but there's a light emanating down from above, so there's some cool shadowing there. Anyway, our favorite Parasparrow is saying, "What in the world is that? Are they all monsters?" Pointing out that although Nami seems pretty... Anyway, that's... Nami yells
she's a monster in her own way. We saw.
Yeah, well, that's true.
On the inside, she's a monster.
She's a monster on the inside. And Nami is yelling to Chopper that it's no use, and Chopper exclaiming in what I assume has some really creepy undertones in the voice, saying, "No, I've got to do it. Do your worst, Big Mom. I could at least drag you into the sea with me." And we get a center shot on this 2-page spread of, please let me get it right, Prometheus? Yes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huge fireball above the Thousand Sunny and above the entire fleet in the background there. And on top is still Big Mom, now with her giant extended Napoleonic sword, which I guess maybe it should change its name at this point. Laughing, saying, "Let's see how far you could run." And I don't know who's responding, but we managed to make it this far.
That's just the crew.
All right. And that Sanji should be coming at any moment. And Big Mom saying, "Look, it's been fun, but now I want my cake." And Jinbei saying, "Look, at that size, the ocean is not going to really be helping here. His ocean technique."
Show a little more concern, Jinbei. Jeez. I guess we're boned.
He's like, "Well, I can't do anything."
And Brooke just says, "Hey, that's my joke."
But Brooke is actually saying, "Witness the tremendous volume of an emperor's soul." What an interesting line from Brooke. Meanwhile, Nami, looking in the other direction, notices a little speck out on the horizon and is shocked. And Big Mom says, "What's that tasty smell?" And it seems like we are coming to the climax of this arc. Except
that's usually how it works.
Except we gotta wait 1 week. So that's gonna do it.
Obviously, it's the scent of Jewelry Bonnie's slice of pizza. She's coming.
That's right, finally.
She's related to every single character in One Piece.
Here I am. I'm back. It's me, Mother Carmel.
It'll be an interesting twist.
Sorry, I went away to get some more cigarettes, and you were all gone. I took all the other orphans with me. You were too busy eating. You didn't eat, kids.
That's
what are you doing, buddy?
That's gonna be chapter.
All the older kids.
Why did I make a non-Jewish? I'm sorry.
I'm very confused by that as well. That's gonna do it for chapter 891. Let's go around the horn with opinions. Let's start with Sam.
My immediate gut reaction was kind of lukewarm. Mostly because I was really looking forward to seeing Nami. I wanted to see the Nami and Zeus scene followed up, which we didn't get this week. So I'm assuming next week we're going to open with a little flashback to sort of connect the dots between this last scene here and what was going on last week. And the kind of emphasis on this chapter is put on that moment where we've got Luffy and Sanji doing that. They believe in me, but it's trying to create this kind of low point of tension, right before Sanji comes to save the day, and I'm not really buying it 100%. But otherwise, I thought that the Luffy versus Katakuri stuff is looking really cool as usual. I think it's impressive that Oda's still able to keep that choreography with their fight sharp. And obviously, I think he's trying not to let it get too repetitive, and that's why he's throwing characters like Flampe in here just to kind of to add new dynamics to it, so it's not just constant brawling. But by far my favorite part of the chapter is right at the beginning with Stussy, where she's talking about the Tamate box and telling you kind of creating the narrative that we'll probably hear, that the whole world will probably hear through the news. I've been assuming that maybe something will happen and the news won't spread, but obviously I think
News Morgans is right there. Of course the news is going to spread.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to squawk all the way to the Grand Line.
I love this sort of dynamic where we're seeing the true version of events where there's a lot of messiness, the plan didn't quite go perfectly, but as far as the world's concerned, they're going to see like this perfectly executed and calculated plan that took down one of the emperors, and it's all went according to Cakeaku for the Straw Hats. But as we know,
Cakeaku.
Cakeaku.
Oh,
Damn it! What did I say?
Is that it, Sam?
What did I say? Yeah. That's I think that's mostly. Oh, and I feel weird about that we're getting like a little sister kind of thing in here, even though it's like it's ultimately pretty innocent, but it's just like it's weird that like between this and like Black Clover, it's like we've got all these like really broad shonen things that are like kind of sneaking in these little sister jokes and archetypes and stuff, and it's like that's I think we're overestimating how much of a niche that is, or underestimating how much that's just kind of a niche audience thing.
Any other thoughts?
I think that should do it.
Okay, Kelly.
So I kind of echoed Sam a little bit. I was also a little bit lukewarm on the chapter. I think the Katakuri Luffy fight still looks good. It's still really interesting to see. I'm enjoying watching Luffy's, I guess, probably next level observation hockey or whatever you would want to call this. Like, it seems like he's honing that during the fight, which I like to see. Mm-hmm. I am starting to wonder how many more Charlotte siblings we're going to run into before this arc is over, because now they're just seeming like a bit throwaway. So wasn't super into Flampe, to be perfectly honest, although you guys reading it did up her cachet a lot. I will say that.
I'm counting on Flampe to pay off by the end of the Luffy versus Katakuri fight.
I'm hoping she will. I'm just curious if we're going to get like a new sibling every couple chapters or what. I mean, there's a lot of them, so I'm kind of wondering how many more we'll see. I think my favorite part, honestly, was the panel with Prometheus and Mama chasing the ship. I absolutely loved that panel. But I also kind of feel that the tension's already been there, so the whole believe in me did fall a little bit short for me as well. Yeah. But I did like my official fan service of a frosting-covered Sanji. I have no complaints about that.
Dennis.
He's got all that creamy white icing.
Okay, Dennis. Indeed. You don't know the color. Let's not know. Right. Dennis.
I guess I'm going to continue the trend. I also found it kind of lukewarm too. If it weren't for Steve's reading of Flampe, I would have been like another throwaway character like Marscapone and Jarscapone, I guess.
How dare you?
The best.
I guess they're kind of throwaway. I wonder what the whole deal is with her being the Suicide Squad captain. And we didn't get to make any Will Smith jokes.
I totally forgot about that.
Oh, Mr. K.
Yeah, like there's some good moments, like the Luffy Katakuri fight still going. I still enjoying that. We have all the cooks covered in Sanji's cream. I mean, everyone there like finally having the cake complete. I'm just trying to flip back and forth through what we've got. Prometheus looking like the sun villain from Super Mario Brothers 3 is awesome. And yeah, it's more of like it's not like full on like I'm gonna call it like filler or like a fill in type chapter. Like there has been some progression, but yeah, I did want to see what happened with little Chibi Zeus, or seeing Luffy's observation hockey power up be a little bit more noticeable. But gotta take baby steps first. It's not like he's gonna master it right away in one chapter. So just gotta keep waiting for 2 weeks now instead of next week.
I do. I want to quickly cut in there just that Rayleigh's idea of you only learn in battle some things. I think give a lot of credence to kind of what we saw in NES Lobby and this as well. Steven, thoughts?
I I'm hoping that Sam is right, and I think he probably is, that that Flampe is kind of meant to pay off with the end, because he's clearly telegraphing that she's like, oh, he has to be perfect because he's this perfect brother and he could never possibly lose. Kind of what Brûlé was doing as well.
I do also find it interesting how we've got this dynamic. We got this like kind of parallel where like Katakuri finds it shameful to fall. Like he's embarrassed to like see his own opponent fall. Like, how are you okay with this? But obviously Luffy's scrappy, so.
Yeah. So I feel like that there has to be some further payoff, because otherwise, aside from that, I think, this character just kind of fell flat for me. It's basically the same thing as with Bavaroa a few chapters ago, except that he basically just showed up, had a few brief lines scattered throughout, and was never really the focus of anything. Whereas, she takes up 2 or 3 pages here, and I don't know. Very, very small gains in this chapter. The stuff with Stussy and Morgans, I think that was an astute observation, that this is how the narrative will be constructed to the outside world. And but otherwise, I sort of felt like, okay, Luffy and Katakuri is just it's the same stuff. We've seen this before. I was saying last chapter that I think that I was like kind of sensing, I'm kind of getting, I'm ready to see the finish here. Because the chase stuff, it's like, I don't know how much further he can manage, and this chapter to me very much suggests that he doesn't have much more much left in the tank to go on before the finish. And I guess it probably would not have been appropriate for them to do the like, oh, what's that on the horizon? What's that delicious smell in the middle of the chapter, and then have it move forward by the end. It seems more like a proper climax this way. But I'm very much ready to get to the next chapter, because I thought this one was pretty underwhelming.
Steve.
Here's my prediction. Over the next few chapters, we will be introduced to the rest of the Charlotte family. So get out here. Tiffany, Heather, Cody, Dylan, Durbin, Jordan, Taylor, Brittany, Wesley, Rumor, Scout, Cassidy,
how do you remember
Zoe,
these?
Chloe, Max, Hunter, Kendall, Caitlin, Noah, Sasha, Morgan, Kira, Ian,
Morgan, we got Morgans.
Lauren, Hubert, Phil.
Wow, you have a encyclopedic Simpsons reference.
Or I have access to Google, Zach.
Oh, you cheated. Steve, what did you think of the chapter? Yeah.
This is the climax. Where do we go? Like, how much longer can this be drawn out? It's not Julie Bonnie with a big old pizza pie. It's Sanji.
Mama, I got you a pizza pie. Isn't this what you were asking for?
It's Julie Bonnie, my best friend, and also my mother. No, we're at that point. This is all going to come to a head. I kind of agree. Flampe, I was like, oh, just another sibling. She has a quirk, I guess. I don't really care though. But I think that's what's great about this podcast, because then things we're not so passionate about, we just give funny voices, and then also we become super passionate about them. I really enjoyed the Luffy and Katakuri sequences. I thought I thought the panel layouts, those page layouts, were pretty fun. Some interesting panels. I think next chapter's got to be a big one. I think someone's going down next week, and it might be a simultaneous thing. Like, it might be Big Mom and Katakuri both go down at the same time.
That's what I'm thinking. My idea is like almost like what if there's a moment where Luffy like beats Katakuri and like sends him flying through a mirror that like goes into the Big Mom scene, and then
destroys.
I think
that would be really cool. Yeah.
The cake. That would be. And everyone just goes, oh.
If the cake gets destroyed, and that's like another like one more thing, that's gonna get exhausting.
Well, there's a whole like Perospero not trusting the cake because it's on Bedge's ship. So
yeah,
there's
a lot.
But I don't think that they'll be able to stop Mama from eating it if he says don't eat it, unless they try to destroy it.
They'll probably try to sink the ship or whatever with their cannons and whatnot. But yeah, agreed.
Steve, did you have any other thoughts? or no?
No, I thought like it was a nice nice action chapter. But I'm ready. I'm ready to see this climax. But it's not like I have arc fatigue. I've been enjoying this, but I think after reading this chapter, I realized like there's really no other way to drag this out. This has to come to.
You say that, but it's always possible.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Every week it's gonna.
Now,
every week like, only two more chapters tops. Every week, 2 more chapters tops.
Well, maybe if this was like a poorly directed anime, we would cut away to like a 2-episode filler arc between the long neck siblings.
Finally.
Well, imagine that just sound like the Goofy Gophers from the Looney Tunes, and I hate them, so I'll hate them too if they sound like that.
As long as it's not Satori and Hattori and Katori and whatever. So I'll give my quick thoughts. I think I agree. It was a little underwhelming. I think the good part is all the underwhelming stuff was kind of toward the beginning, and the end was really great. All the stuff in the second half of the chapter was good, and all the stuff in the first half of the chapter was iffy. I mean, I did love seeing the underworld characters come back here, as I was wondering where they were and what they were up to, especially Big News Morgans, which I'm always happy to see. And Flampe, I think you guys said the piece that I would also say. It feels like kind of those, like, she's not as bad as the character I'm about to name, but she's shoehorned in the same way as Queen Orica Vacusuck, a character we've never seen again. And never, hopefully, we'll never see again. But she's not as, terrible as that, but she's kind of just shoehorned in there. I mean, I'm very underwhelmed by Flampe. Also, we've had, like, how many Charlotte siblings at this point? You couldn't have used one we've already seen. I mean, you guys have already mentioned Brule kind of having the same role prior to this. Why can't they just use Brule? Do they anyway? Maybe Oda has something with this character, but other than Steve and Dennis's impersonation, there's not much going for that. I'll get back to the Katakuri fight in a second. Great to see the cake done. I was actually not expecting it to be done this quick. I'm used to shonen pacing, and sometimes that's slower than Oda's pacing even. So I'm happy to see things kind of come to a head here. I really like the Luffy Sanji kind of "They Believe in Me" panel. I thought that was an iconic kind of panel for this chapter. And the last page was great as well. So there's a lot of momentum at the end, in my opinion. I want to ask before we go, though, let's do give a letter grade to the Katakuri Luffy fight thus far, because it's been going on for some time. So do you guys have, if you guys have an opinion, Dennis, do you want to start?
I guess solid B.
Sam?
Yeah, probably about B. Like to me, the big mom chase is like the real meat and potatoes.
Steve?
B plus.
Steven?
I would also say a B. I think it's been really cool, but it's also like I'm getting very deja vu, like fatigue of the sort of the same attacks and just seeing it continue on and on. I want to see a good finish to it.
Kelly?
B with the potential of coming in A, depending on how it ends.
Right. Yeah. The ending's going to make a big deal. Big difference.
And this fight feels closest to like a Lucci fight, or I think Lucci's the only thing I could compare it to, because it's something that's been going on for some time while other things are happening in the background. Where Luffy is really on the ropes most of the time.
And it's mostly just like pure brawn.
Yeah. Which there's a lot to be said about that fight, but the worst part about that fight is that Lucci, in my opinion, is not much of a character. But it's a great choreographed fight. I think this one, I like Katakuri a lot more as a character than I like Lucci already, just because of that donut scene. But I want to wait to see until the end how I would compare those two, but they feel very, very similar, which is not bad. Enies Lobby did a lot of great stuff, so not bad to copy off of some of the best work in the series. Okay, why don't we move on into the anime recap? Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I thought no one was ready, and I was going to be like, what do we do?
What do we do?
This is the anime recap for episode 821, The Chateau in Turmoil, Luffy to the Rendezvous, which is almost identical to the title of the episode before this. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have, once again, Kelly.
Hello.
And once again we have our good friend Jill.
Hello, long time no recap.
Our title card this week begins at 4 minutes and 9 seconds. So we open the episode with... At the tail end of Pedro's big explosion after he pulled out the dynamite last week, and now Count Niwatori and all of his henchmen are kind of figuring out what to do because there's wounded people all over the place. And this is our first time getting to see Count Niwatori in full color, which I don't think was. I think in the manga we had to wait a few weeks to actually see what he looked like now. But basically, we learned that Pedro, when he did the explosion, he got pulled into the mirror world from by Carrot and Chopper, and then we get it's a little out of chronological order, where we see the explosion, and then we learn that the explosion happened because Pedro saw Carrot and Chopper in like a nearby mirror, and he was using himself as bait, basically. He even says the line, "It's nice to be bait," which I guess that's what he's been doing this arc. I like this little sequence where the three of them are in the mirror world now. They're running around trying to find which mirror will take them to their friends. And we got like Pedro, like his arms crossed, and he's like stand up perfectly straight on the back of the cart. And Chopper's asking her, "Oh, do you have the portrait ready, Carrot?" And Carrot's like, "Yep." And we get the big reveal that the portraits that the Straw Hats are using to have the mirrors identify their friends. Carrot drew this like beautiful like shoujo, reimagining of all the Straw Hats, saying, "Mirror, mirror, we're on the wall. Where are our friends?" And Pedro's having this moment where he's like freaking out, like it doesn't look anything like them. And but the mirrors immediately are like, "Oh, I know that redhead girl."
One of the best parts in the manga, and I think they did a really good job with it with the anime, even with the like horn honking sound when she holds it up.
Well, they had to drag it out a lot so we get like a close up on each one of their faces before it pulls out and we see the whole thing.
I'm kind of glad they did that. It. Yeah, I did too, especially Brooke. Having Brooke done as a pretty boy style was excellent.
The Marge Simpson hair.
Yes.
I love this drawing a lot. I want to take it, put it on the refrigerator, and just like look at it and beam in pride.
That's the one piece of merch they should make, is that drawing, I swear.
I'll look for it. I'm sure someone will eventually do it.
Yeah.
So the mirrors are telling them that they saw Nami running around, and she is with Boss Jinbei, which is a big surprise to Chopper, who knows Boss Jinbei. We cut to Luffy fighting through the halls. This whole sequence looks really well animated, where Luffy is just punching and kicking all the guys through the halls as he's running. And then he comes across Cadenza's brother. There's sort of that. What is it? I think they're the five of them. There's a litter of Opera's brothers.
Yes.
And Luffy's like, "Oh, who are you? You look exactly like that guy I just beat up." And it turns out that was Cadenza, and now we're meeting Cadenza's brother, Cabaletta. I don't know these terms very well, so. But it basically ends up being Cabaletta gets Luffy in this big chokehold, and they kind of drag this part out, but it ends in a really cool looking hawk rifle, where Luffy takes him out.
I like the little scene right after it where once he leaves, all the rest of the goons are like, "Oh, thank God he's gone." And they're like, "Oh, wait, no, we have to do our jobs and chase after him."
Yeah, that was really funny.
We come to a scene where Sanji is sort of wandering through we're kind of getting, they've been giving us these maps to sort of keep track of where Luffy is in the chateau and where Sanji is, and they're not that far away. But they're gonna just keep missing each other throughout the episode, and we get a scene where Sanji has to sit down on one of the benches and takes a breather. He's got a smoke. He thinks about his problems. We come to Nami and Jinbei. They're running through the halls. I love Nami just riding on Jinbei's back. Like I really want to see more stuff like this as once Jinbei joins the crew, and they're catching each other up on what's going on, and they end up in this they conveniently end up in this hall of mirrors where it's like, I wonder what's going to happen here. And some guys are chasing them. Jinbei has been doing a pretty good job of punching dudes out of the way and dodging bullets and stuff. And now Nami's getting her weather ready, and she accidentally shocks her own crewmate Chopper, who popped out of one of the mirrors and took them by surprise. We come to a scene where Luffy is still running through the halls. He sort of darts around a corner really fast, and his hand gets caught by somebody's hand, pops out of the room and catches Luffy. It's clearly like a woman's hand. And I actually like forgot about this scene, so like at first I'm like, wait, is this like pudding or something? And then Reiju pulls him into the room. It's like, oh, okay, that's a friendly face. Reiju catches Luffy up on what's going on, clears up the fact that yes, Sanji knows about pudding. Sanji was he fought Luffy for purely selfless reasons. So there should be no bad blood between them, and all misconceptions are getting cleared up. And we get this moment where Luffy his stomach is growling. He's getting ready to like faint from hunger. Reiju even offers him something to eat, but he doesn't want it because he swore that the next thing he would eat would be from Sanji's cooking. So he's like, I'm happy that Sanji isn't being tricked. So now I know that I can go straight to the rendezvous point and wait for him. And he jumps right out the window, looks awesome. And we come back to Sanji. We're just getting like a lot of flashbacks, sort of reminding us of what Sanji's conflicts have been throughout this arc. Like Zeph and what else is pudding and all that stuff. And where the language of the scene is starting to imply that even though he's kind of free to go, he might not be okay leaving his family to die. And so we come back to Luffy. He's like crashed through just somebody's house. They're like, oh no, my house. And he's now like stumbling through the streets of Whole Cake Island, really hungry, really tired looking. And then the music plays us out. To be continued. Any general thoughts on the episode, you guys?
Reiju's window had to have been able to be opened, right? Like,
I'm sure.
Opened it for him.
I'm
There's
sure.
no reason whatsoever. He just had to crash through it. The entire time I was just thinking that.
I mean, he's not going to foot the bill.
That's true. I mean, this is a guy that was going to rip his arms off a couple episodes ago versus trying to figure out something else. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Kelly?
So, it's kind of a transitional episode. I think the best part was really getting everybody back with Chopper and Carrot, to be honest. But those flashback scenes, even in the manga, I was getting to a point where I'm like, Sanji, you need to start doing stuff, and I'm feeling the same kind of like you need to start doing something, Sanji, with this episode too. But it looked great, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I like the fight sequences a lot.
Jill?
I like the scene between Reiju and Luffy. I thought the animation team did a really good job on Reiju's expressions, because she usually has the more subtle stuff. So just changing like her eyes and her lips really just like shows like her relief or like her determination and all that stuff. So I really liked it. It was a nicely done episode. Pretty slow, like Kelly said, transitional, but it had its moments here and there that I really liked it.
Yeah, I really liked this episode a lot. I mean, it was like the Luffy fighting the big guy. His name is right here. Hold on, Cavaletta. Like that stuff dragged on for sure, and like they took a lot of opportunities to like flash back to stuff that we've been flashing back to a lot, and that's kind of getting to be my big pet peeve here. But I really like how like we're seeing a lot of positive progression for the Straw Hats, where like the most of the crew is getting together, so it's just Luffy trying to meet Sanji, and then eventually we're gonna have to get Brook. But other than that, like we've got the crew's coming back together. Reiju's clearing up all the misconceptions, so now that there's no like annoying plot reason why Sanji and Luffy can't meet up and make up for the fight. Which feels really good. Like after everything is just like really complicated, everything is just sort of falling into place in like a really elegant way. So I think that is kind of the main strength here, and we're kind of setting up. We're making sure that like once Luffy and Sanji are back together, it's going to be a purely like emotionally motivated moment, and not like, you know, they're not gonna fight further because of like misconceptions or anything. It's all about like what do the characters want to do now.
Right. Yeah. It frees Sanji from pretty much all of his obligations at this point. He has very few left that he has to worry about. So it'll probably be a good scene when it comes.
Right. Yeah. So this episode worked for me for sure. I think that should do it. Let's move on to the next segment.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. No worries.
Mm-hmm.
This is the piece together segment where we take your like questions and your comments and whatever and your all your emojis and we discuss them.
It's only about Katakuri, right?
See which one's the most popular.
Okay.
One gets the most likes on Instagram.
We're gonna start on. Steve.
Hold on, I gotta add to my story.
Steve,
I gotta add to my story.
Or I'm sorry, Flampe or whatever the hell you were. You could take Ed's place this week and do all the segment things that we usually do. Our first piece together segment is Steve.
This piece.
I was really hoping you did it in the Flampe voice, but okay.
This piece.
So you can join us on Discord if you're a Patreon subscriber. Just go to patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast and then show proof of, I guess, purchase or subscription on our Discord channel, which I should probably put in the description for every episode. So hopefully that will be there this week. Our first disc piece comes from Morgul, our first and only. But I like this question. What would be a good age to get a kid into the One Piece manga? My nephew is 10, and I recently noticed him reading some kids' manga like Pokemon and Yokai Watch, and I've been thinking of getting him a copy of One Piece Volume 1. I'm just not sure if the series is too violent or has other inappropriate stuff for his age, and I fear the wrath of his mother, Morgul's sister. Do you think I'll be safe, or should I wait a couple more years before buying him a copy of the book? What's the Shonen Jump's like target age? Isn't it 12?
I think on One Piece it's like T, like 13 up.
Yeah.
Or like that's what you'll see on the back of the book.
I mean, if in my opinion, I think it depends what portion in the series you're talking about.
Yeah,
from the start. So starting from the
early, I think the earlier stuff is 10 might be a little early. 11 or 12, I feel like probably would be.
Yeah, and asking the parents is usually a pretty good idea.
I think that's probably the best idea.
Yeah.
Maybe he's mature for his age.
It's tough because like the early stuff is very like a lot of the general kind of atmosphere and design of the series is very cheery, and it looks to our standards like a very child friendly thing, but even then there's still a lot of really violent stuff, like, you know, with Shank's arm and you know, the Baratier stuff, things like that.
And there's complicated stuff that, I mean,
smoking and all that.
There's definitely smoking. I would just you could run through the list of these are the worst parts about it and see if the mother would be okay with it. I think 12 is probably at minimum a better age in my opinion.
Yeah, and then if they're into it, they can keep going because they can handle what comes up afterward.
If they read it over a very long period of time, it actually would work pretty well because as you get older, I think the topics get more adult, maybe, or at least more mature from where it starts. I think the Arlong arc, I'm trying to like for a 12-year-old, maybe. I don't know. I don't know a lot of people that age. Anyway, why don't we move into some emails? Steve, our email song.
Email.
Cool. We don't have an email song. This one comes from Martin, who says, if each Straw Hat were forced to join a currently existing pirate crew, where would each member go?
Blasphemy.
Yeah, this is horrible.
I don't think anyone would join any other crew.
That's a tough one. And it sounds like a cop-out, because it is, but I also can't think of anything.
I mean, half of them didn't want to be pirates to begin with.
Right. Yeah, that's why.
Usopp would be in his own pirate crew.
That's true. Yeah.
Would not make it to the Grand Line.
Yeah, he would not make it very far at all. Be him and Onion and Carrot.
He wouldn't make it 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Brook could make friends with other pirates pretty easily.
Yeah.
If he ever got off that boat, which he did.
Like if he met Shanks or something, like they'd get along.
Well, he was already on at least one pirate crew before them.
Right.
So, I mean, that question's kind of answered.
Just like any nice guy pirates, Brook would probably fit right in.
That need or involve music.
And like Frankie being the son of a pirate, I don't even know if that would allow him to. I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to think of which crew members wanted to be pirates, and the only ones I could think of are Zoro didn't, Sanji didn't,
nope,
Usopp did, Nami definitely did not, Robin didn't, Frankie I don't know, Brook was one, Chopper I mean wouldn't have even he did because of the stuff with Hero Luke. He would have eventually found his way, I guess, to sea. I don't know. It's a good question. He also asked, will there be a highlights of 2017 episode? I think the ship has sailed, unfortunately, with that. And we had a lot of stuff with the 500th episode. We didn't really have time to do our traditional highlight episode. If we do, if Skype cooperates at some point in the future, or we have other technology to record the podcast, which we'll get into at the end of the show, if we do a call-in, you can ask us that question, and I'll try and come prepared with some answers. Any other thoughts on 2017? Or if there's anything you wanted to mention about cool stuff in 2017 that you didn't get a chance to?
Nope.
Do a marathon recap. Combine 2017 and 2018. That'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll totally remember.
Yeah.
This one is from Jalissa, who says, I wanted to know, is there a complete collection of One Piece that's all in English, or is there a certain box collection that she should purchase? I'll say first off, there can't be a complete collection because the series will never end ever.
Those Viz boxes, the 24-piece box sets
for the manga, those are great. And for the anime, they have those 100+ episode box sets, which I would recommend. The Amazon exclusives. I don't know if they're still available, but
I don't know if they are.
No.
But the collection sets, the 4-disc ones, are really cheap. So
we got some questions about Flampe because, of course, the mistake, we talked about this already. The 33 or 36, and it is a mistake. It was mentioned. This one comes from Gordo, who says, been watching One Piece since the days of the 4Kids dub on in early morning, but have only recently discovered your podcast. To make up for lost time, I've been trawling through the archives, listening to previous Piece Together segments, and I've particularly enjoyed hearing your suggestions for One Piece inspired movie titles. However, I was greatly disturbed when it dawned on me that no one was going to mention the most obvious title of all, Resident Weevil. This got me thinking, how do you think each Straw Hat would handle a zombie outbreak? I.e., who would be the first bitten, who would hide their bite from everyone before turning and attacking someone, who would be the sole survivor, and who would blow themselves up at a gas pump? Anyway, that's Zoolander, too. Anyway, keep up the great work, everyone. Your enthusiasm and camaraderie make this podcast a pleasure to listen to, and you always make the workday go by that bit quicker. Thank you, Gordo.
Thank you.
Zombie casting.
No one say a damn thing, because right off the bat, Luffy tries to put one back in the ground.
That's right.
Yep. I also think he'd be the last one to survive, because I don't think teeth can actually puncture Luffy unless they're sharpened or whatever. So
Brook would be fine too.
Yeah, Brook would be fine too.
Yeah. Brook, it would be a sequence of him screaming. It's like, they're coming to get me, and they just walk past him.
Yeah.
It would almost be exactly like Thriller Bark. Remember when they were each getting captured by Moria to get the shadows stolen?
Oh yeah, Luffy was the first one captured.
Yeah, Luffy was immediately captured.
Yeah,
which sounds about right.
I think Luffy's the first one gone. He's the biggest idiot.
He's the one at the gas station.
I think Zoro and Sanji would, like the monster trio would all be taken out. I think
who survived that one the longest? Usopp survived.
Chopper.
Usopp would last because he can
and
run,
Robin.
and he's terrified of them. So
he's got.
Yeah,
I feel like Robin would willingly join a zombie army. I think she would like the morbidity of it.
Yeah,
Robin, I think, was the last one to get her shadow taken.
Yeah, she was. Robin would think they were cute.
Yeah.
True.
It depends the zombies, because there's different types of zombies. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think Frankie would probably hide out in the General Frankie. Maybe they would eventually get to him. I feel like the survivors would be Usopp. I think Usopp and maybe Robin. And Brooke. I'm sorry. Those my three.
I could see maybe Nami because she's crafty.
True.
I think her being the typical woman in a horror movie where she would run, trip, and say, "Ow, my ankle." Actually, I think Robin would be bitten too because she would try using her abilities, and they would just bite her giant hands, or multiple limbs sprouting out of other places. So, Usopp and Brooke, they're my choice.
I think Chopper would be the one who would try to hide getting bit from everyone until it's too late, because he would also be trying to find a cure.
No. I thought when you said he'd be hiding, he'd just be sticking his half of
the wrong side
of the body, the wrong side of the wall. So that's how he gets caught. Remember that gimmick?
Yeah. What happened to that?
Let's move on to our Reddit questions, Steven.
All right, Reddit. We will start with.
Is that the Reddit song?
Yep.
Oron. Okay, go ahead.
Oron 122 says in the latest chapter it mentions that attacks have an aura to them. I think I called it a will or a presence. To me, this seems to imply that Katakuri isn't literally seeing the future, but instead sensing his opponent's intentions, kind of like when Eneru couldn't dodge Luffy's punches when he attacked randomly. This reminds me of a technique in Hajime no Ippo where boxers put so much killer intent behind their feints that they become indistinguishable from the real thing. Is it possible for Luffy to fool Katakuri's seemingly unstoppable observation haki by putting enough willpower into his feints? If Luffy can counter Katakuri's foresight while developing his own, he just might be able to win.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a very Japanese, like it's a very manga thing to do, and I would say that I have always kind of been under the general impression that, Katakuri's foresight is not like literal, like seeing the future, but you know that it's basically an extrapolation of the intent that he senses another person will do.
Yeah, it's an extreme version of observation haki.
Yeah, yeah. Chris Lafer says, if you guys were part of a royal family in One Piece, such as the brother of Wapol or a son of Big Mom, etc., which family would you be a part of? Also, when will Jill host her episode?
Yeah,
Zach.
No, Jill. I have told Jill a million times she's free to do it whenever she wants. I want her to do it. Come on, Jill. The ball's in your court. You tell me when you're available, what you want to do. I'm there. Yeah. What was the other question?
Royal family.
What rich family do you want to be with?
It doesn't have to be rich, just royal. Some royal families have been kicked out and just recently got back into the graces of the government. I don't remember anything about Dressrosa, so it can't be from that.
Nefertari family?
Yeah.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
You don't want to be Stelly's sibling?
I'm trying to think of what kingdom I would most want to live in, I feel like, is part of that equation. I don't know if I'd really want to live in Alabasta. I mean, deserts are cool, but not forever, in my opinion.
There isn't really a royal family in the drum or the Sakura Kingdom now.
Well, there was, and
the
guy kind of became an a-hole, so I don't know if I'd want to be part of that monarchy, but Drum Kingdom would be cool. There's a lot. No, there are a lot, aren't there?
I think there's fewer than you would think.
Yeah.
Why don't we move on to the next one while we give that more thought?
Gunther C. Perk 97 has a Bonnie theory. So I was watching The Simpsons season 28, episode 15.
I already don't like everything about this question.
In which Lisa buys a straw hat exactly like Luffy's, and it has Sunny written on it. Can it be true? Is Lisa Jewelry Bonnie? Keep up the great work.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can't dispute that.
I mean, the straw hat does say Sunny.
Yep. How did you know?
What a random combination of ideas. Straw hats in the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
It's been planned out since the almond shorts, man.
Part of
What's
the
next?
design,
What's next?
Yeah, Prince of Assassins has this is kind of a boilerplate question, but I think it's been a long time since we answered it. If you guys were Zoan users, what animal would you like to be and why?
Yeah, we have. I don't think we've gotten that one in a while. If we have,
Stipulation is can't be one that's been used.
I mean, you don't get bonus points for picking one that's already been used. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say walrus. I guess you can't.
I'd personally
roll on the beach and kind of whap your stomach.
I personally would want the elephant fruit, but that was taken. So I gotta think here.
Definitely be a bird so that I could fly. That would be pretty cool.
I think pterodactyl or something for me, because it's going to be an epic bird type. And Phoenix is taken, so.
A falcon?
That's
Pell.
Pell. Oh, it's one that doesn't exist?
Die. Yeah.
I would
pretend to die.
I'm going to pretend to die. It'd be fine. Actually, yeah. He really has a phoenix fruit when you think about it.
True.
Yeah.
He's the Tom Sawyer of...
I was literally just trying to think of cool birds, and I accidentally picked one that existed.
Toucan, because then I can find cereal.
That's what toucans do in real life.
Go for hummingbird. Just be super, super tiny.
Oh. Yeah.
Hedgehog, and then I gotta go fast.
Why was I just thinking of birds?
You wanted to fly, that's why.
Flying is cool, but
yeah.
Chameleon's good for like invisibility, quote unquote.
A moose.
Nice.
Who would be your squirrel in this scenario?
I don't get it.
Okay.
That'd be Alex.
That's true.
Okay, next is from Chow, who really enjoyed the dog breed discussion in the last episode, especially with Zach getting overly invested.
I still have the book on my desk here. If you want to keep doing it,
crack it open because what about the warlords and other characters?
Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm gonna crack it open. It's good I left it here accidentally.
All right.
Wait, so let's go through the warlords one by one.
Everyone.
Oh, no, just go by one that you were curious as to.
Buggy.
Oh my god. It's an interesting one to start with. It's got to be like one of those little yappy dogs.
Yeah.
Who thinks, pay attention to
Chihuahua.
me.
Pomeranian.
Yeah, I think those are both good choices. Who else? Kuma. So that's
Mastiff.
kind of Mastiff or a Malamute maybe.
Yeah.
No, Mastiff is good probably for that.
Crocodile.
Crocodile. No, I'm just kidding.
Doberman Pinscher.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Really good choice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I didn't even need this book.
Boa Hancock.
What's the most beautiful poodle, right? Standard
Or an
poodle?
Afghan hound with those silky ears.
Yeah.
Like a fancy dog. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doflamingo.
Also a fancy dog.
Well, it has maybe, you know what? It could be Carrie Fisher's French bulldog that always sticks its tongue out. That's Doflamingo.
I was gonna say like one of the similar to the Afghan hound, but like one of those dogs that like one of those sheep dogs where you can never see their eyes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like his jacket.
For some reason, even though the personalities are completely different, I want to say golden retriever. Although golden retrievers sometimes do eat furniture and mess up the place, but they're not as conniving as Doflamingo. Though very few dogs are.
What about
Moria.
Moria. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oof.
Like a Rottweiler, maybe?
All I know is that now I want a Tibetan Mastiff. Just looking at these pictures.
Great Dane? No.
No.
Which dog is gothic as hell?
Yeah, what's the
Moria would be an iguana.
That's a really good answer. I can't really think of a gothic dog though. I'm sure
Mihawk.
What about a Weevil?
Oh
Yeah.
Jesus! Weevil's a cat.
Yes.
Like we're cheating a little bit here, but
Yeah, I was gonna say Law might be a cat.
all I know is that
Barbarian.
all I know is I'm looking at a dog with Bartolomeo's mohawk right now, a medium poodle, but it has this like long mohawk thing.
I'd say Law would be a Dalmatian. All the spots.
Oh yeah,
that's a good choice.
Dick to children.
They're overbred. Wait, that doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know.
Have we gotten the dog out of our system? We move on. Zach.
Oh, that was it?
We didn't say Mihawk, but I don't know. He's kind of a bird person.
Sure. All right, let's move on to Croco Cake Boss, who wants to know, what do you think about the idea that the smell on the horizon isn't the cake, and that it could be a Vin Smoke plot to poison Big Mom? I feel like they know she wants a cake and are trying to take her out, since Sanji's family should be there when he saves the day. I think it'd be quite the twist and easy to set them up and have Sanji arrive shortly after. I would say my question in return is, why is the Cake Boss promoting a theory that isn't a cake?
That's right, anti-cake.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that, yeah, it's almost too easy for Sanji to just show up with the cake. But
we need something to be too easy right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where's Zach?
I'm right here.
Oh.
Where did you think I went?
Away.
What's
Invested
next,
in the
then?
dog book.
I'm engrossed by it, yes.
Black Northwind did enjoy Carrot's art and color, but my question is, where is Brûlé right now? That was quite a non sequitur. With introduction of the newest character, she seems to be active. Inactive, I think you mean.
I think must have used her to get into the mirror world.
Yeah, I guess she's just kind of tied up and stuck next to a mirror somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah, she must be locked up in the mirror world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the best we can do. But yeah, that was definitely on our mind as far as like why isn't it Brûlé who's saying all these things about Katakuri instead of Flampe? So Renegade Pearl is mentioning a YouTube discussion stream and heard that Luffy has been fighting Katakuri for several hours, but I was a bit confused since Katakuri seemed to mention he's been acting strange since he came back, and the next time we saw was 9 o'clock when Carrot had her Sulong form. So I think after he left, which was around 4:40, and he entered shortly after because he wanted to beat Katakuri at full strength, while wearing down at him would take away his haki? ? That was worded confusingly. Do you think there's been a gap between his leaving and entering like that? I don't know. I mean, to be honest, like the timeline is very stretchable according to whatever Oda wants to do. It feels like he's been fighting Katakuri for a while. It took a little break, came back, but I'm not really particularly interested in like constructing a detailed timetable of exactly when each thing happened.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think anyone.
Don't worry, Oda will come out with his full timetable. I mean, we're going to talk about this next week, but Oda has a lot of detail. He has those notebooks that he has on his desk for each arc. And I think I said this when we first learned that those existed. I would kill to own a copy of one of those notebooks. Like, I think that would be one of the coolest things to publish. And I'm sure in it he has this kind of information.
Yeah, maybe he's saving them up for a Daisenshu or Kanzenshu or whatever those books were called, sort of like post-series. Because God, I can't even imagine. Yeah, well, no. I was thinking of the Dragon Ball ones, the encyclopedias that they put together. I can't imagine what sort of stuff they will come up with to put on sale after everything is all said and done. Let's see. Last question from Electric Dynamite. We don't know why Blackbeard attacked Wapol and Drum Island shortly before the Straw Hats arrived, do we? Could this be a topic addressed at Reverie? Wapol and Dalton will be there. Blackbeard must have had some reason to go to Drum Kingdom specifically, attack, and leave before Ace showed up. Chopper might know something too. Also, I have a tough quiz topic idea. Name all of Usopp's pop greens.
Can you name Zach. One?
Yeah, that's I was like,
Banana Boat.
Okay.
Banana Boat, very good.
I don't know if that's the official name of it though.
Yeah.
There's the.
I'll say this about Drum: you're looking too far into it. You
might eat those words though, Steve.
He was probably just doing the pirate thing. He was just kind of sacking the islands that he landed on, looking for tough dudes to join him.
Drum was secluded and didn't have really any strong opposition, so it was probably a perfect place to test his powers. It's like no, there was buried treasure in the Drum Island. That's where the name of the Forgotten Kingdom is. The Void Century.
It was also definitely kind of a trope back in that part of the story that the enemy pirates were just sort of like sailing around, just kind of ransacking stuff for lots of different reasons, and not all of them were necessarily really like story tied down to story reasons, I think. So yeah, I think it's a pretty straightforward answer, and that's it for Reddit. But we have no Ed.
Oh, so then I guess it's up to me now.
Yes.
It's time for me to say it's time for Peace the Tweet. Oh, sorry.
You rushed that, Steve. You got to take your time with it. It's like
you got nervous.
Yeah.
You savor it.
I did. All right, guys, get back off.
Do you want me to go through it, Steve, or you got it?
Why don't you take it?
I will take it.
Because I forget where we left off.
Okay. So. The first one comes from Dr. Hoven, which sounds like...
hey, Hoven.
Oh.
It's a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Is he here?
That was my joke from last time, Steve. Dr. Hoven says, as a proud owner of one, I am not appreciating the Dalmatian slander you guys did last week. then you're really going to hate this week's episode. Sorry. If you're a Trafalgar Law fan, though, you're going to be doubly angry. Next one comes from our very own Brian Newton, who said, the mirror panels with Luffy and Sanji have their opposite eyes covered. Also, I will be king of the Little Sisters. Good for you, Brian.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned that earlier in the show, but good find there. Next one comes from Shadow Candle. Do you think Daifuku could ride his genie's back like Pudding rides her carpet? It would be a good way to get him to Sanji since his ships can't sail. I feel like Daifuku's out of commission at this point, but...
I don't know. He has a genie.
That's true.
Yeah, but there's also a refractory period after you summon the genie once. You gotta wait a little while before you can summon it again.
The next question is the part of the
show.
Do
you think his genie actually does grant wishes, but he's used them all up already?
but like the genie is still stuck. He's like,
he's still a good fighter.
I have to stick around. There's nothing I can really do.
I still have to obey him. I just can't grant any wishes.
Yeah.
The next question introduces our part of the show where Steve talks about another topic that isn't One Piece related. With the this is from M.L. Abbott. With the upcoming release of Dragon Ball FighterZ, how do you pronounce that? Fighters? I've seen it written a million times.
Excuse me, I believe it's Dragon Ball FighterZ. That's what they say.
Right.
Really? Okay, good to know.
Oh.
If there were a One Piece fighter, Zed, who would be your number one pick for a fighter other than these Straw Hats? But I'm sure Steve will also talk about this game. So Steve, go for it.
Well, if it's done by Arxis, it's the same developer. I think Katakuri would be a lot of fun in that game. But who would I personally enjoy playing as in that game? I mean, it would have to be Dellinger. I'd want to just be super good at Dellinger and just troll people.
Mr. 2 Bon Clay, I want to play as him.
That'd be a good one.
Steve, I think you mentioned this about, or someone online mentioned this about Yu Yu Hakusho as well, but One Piece is a show that has characters that all have different powers, so that kind of game I feel like would be super cool, because every little thing would be way different. Not to knock DBZ, but all the powers are kind of similar, at least compared to One Piece. I've created silence.
You have to play this game.
I want to play this game. Any other thoughts on characters?
Caribou.
I'd like to play as Ivankov.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Fanboy Sin says, "Hey guys, longtime listener, first time writer. Anyways, what do you think? What do you think? Will Katakuri's family give Mochi Man a reason to not give up, or will it be the opposite? He also has a sketch which you can check out if you follow the piece, the tweet hashtag.
What's the question?
I'm trying to figure it out. Yes,
I think he's asking if the Charlotte family is gonna inspire Katakuri to keep on fighting, motivate him. But no, he's the villain. He's going to lose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's already kind of ahead of Luffy pretty considerably. So.
Yeah.
Next and last one comes from QuipQuest, Garrett Carter, who we need to offer him more. Why do you think Japanese fans like certain arcs more than American fans? Dressrosa seems to be a favorite over there. I did not know that.
Well, yeah, I did not know that either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to see the numbers here.
Mm-hmm. I've always gotten the impression that like Dressrosa is one of those arcs that like we as the podcast complain about a lot, but I think it's kind of a classic to a lot of other people.
It depends. I think it depends on where you look for feedback. I've noticed, especially that at least on Amazon Japan, which granted that's kind of a punchline in itself, Amazon reviews. But they definitely do the arcs. The ratings suffer when the arcs are long, and especially if they're if it doesn't feel like it's like breaking fantastic new ground in the series. And so I seem to recall reading a lot of opinions that were that were along the lines of our criticisms of Dressrosa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly Garrett is referencing to. I don't necessarily think you should confuse it with the fact that Sabo, Doflamingo, and Rocinante have a lot of merchandise because they're just very popular characters. But I don't know.
Dressrosa is made up of a ton of like it's so full of like characters and moments that people remember and still like. It just doesn't really come together as a whole that way.
Yeah,
The impression.
Go ahead.
The impression that I get from the fans in Japan is that they view Alabasta as like the golden period of the series.
Wow,
that's what I get.
I think it depends the generation you're in of One Piece fans.
Yeah,
I think here in the U.S. and in Japan and abroad and wherever. I mean, when I did Kelly, I don't know if you recall too, but when we did the Anime NYC and we asked how many of you guys like Dressrosa, I think almost everyone was like, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Dressrosa.
They were. Yep.
And, we rag on it a lot, but Dressrosa has some really great parts to it. I think a lot of our complaints was the length, and that there were a lot of missteps in the organization of the arc, more than...
Sam had some pretty good hot takes on Dressrosa recently on Twitter, and I think he put into words very well, because I think I also agreed that the defeat of Doflamingo didn't feel as special as it did Crocodile, you know?
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, I enjoyed Dressrosa almost the entire way through up until it ended, and I realized it just wasn't satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, I think you referenced to Law, like Law's reaction to Doflamingo being defeated. It wasn't like this big relief. He didn't get emotional. He just stared. Like, good. Like, that's like if
Hero's
like
got a good crying scene after that happened, though.
It's like if Cobra, like when Crocodile was defeated and Cobra was there with Luffy, and he was just like, good.
Cool.
Yeah, like I think of the episode in the anime, and I just remember, you know, after Luffy defeats him, and of course the ceiling to that temple is broken, and the sunlight's coming in, and Cobra just looks up into the sunlight. It's such a great scene. Yeah.
Or like when it's raining and Vivi's just like looking out at the battlefield, and she's just like, "Yep, that sounds about right."
Like Luffy, no, Vivi continually yelling, "Stop the fighting!" And then it starts raining, and she says, "Good."
My job here is done. And she walks on.
You didn't do anything.
Did I? So that's going to do it for our Piece the Tweet. Coming up in our final segment, we have some trivia and a lot more, so please stick around. Why don't we round off? This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 502 for the week of Monday, January 15th, 2018. You may notice our soundboard isn't happening this week, and that is because even though the episode sounded great, it took, I think between Sam and I, around 4 hours to edit, compared to around 1 to 1.5 hours that it normally takes. So it's kind of impractical. So we're probably not going to be doing that again anytime soon, unfortunately. Which is a shame, since I was a big fan of the soundboard, and I think Steve was a very big fan of the soundboard.
I was loving it.
Yeah, but maybe one day, if there's any other technology people know out there about podcasting that they think we should give a try, we'll entertain it. You know our contact information, and we'll quiz Steve about all our contact information in just a minute. That's not the quiz this week, Steve. Although one week we should do that.
Damn.
But before we go, I want to remind people that we will have something special if you get to $1,000 on Patreon. I'm going to say what that special thing is right now. Steve and Alex were nice enough to put something together while I was in DC a few weeks ago. Steve, do you want to talk about what that may be?
Well, we produced a couple videos over a bit over a year ago of Alex trying out some One Piece branded foods, and people liked them. We wanted to do more. I think Alex, tried doing more. Something happened, but we did more recently, and I was lucky enough to join Alex in partaking in, I think, 4 different kinds of One Piece foods, and the results are something.
And whenever we get to $1,000, we'll put the first of those videos on, and we'll start putting those out over the next few months. They are great. They get increasingly great, I think.
They tell a story.
They do. They
There's
all
a story arc.
They all go together. You don't want to just start at the last episode. You want to watch.
They rhyme. They rhyme. It's like poetry.
None of that is true.
Slam poetry.
Next week there is no manga chapter, but we will be here with a volume 87 recap with Steven. The first page of the SPS is useless, but the rest of it is good, which is not uncommon for an SPS. So please stay tuned for that. We'll also probably have some extra goodies on that episode. But before we get into some trivia, Kelly, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Karuri.
Dennis?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Itchnob, and I also host the Vintage Anime Club podcast, where you can find 95% of podcasts will be on there, except SoundCloud and Spotify.
Sam?
You can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw, and you can find me on the One Piece podcast every week doing the anime recaps. And you can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, and Black Clover.
Steven.
Hey, you may follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus, if you please.
And last but not least, Steve.
Well, you could find me on Twitter at CBurko and Zach at Zach_Logan. And you could find our podcast at onepiecepodcast.com, twitter.com, youtube.com, facebook.com/One Piece Podcast. We've comments and questions at reddit.com/One Piece Podcast. Give us an email, onepiecepodcast@gmail.com, or give us a phone call. Wait, I'll get to that in a second. You should subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher.
I mean, technically we're still there, yeah.
Yeah, please listen to us on there as well.
TuneIn Radio, which is one ad
Radio,
forgets, so it's fine if you don't know that one.
Or you could give us a call at our phone number, Zach.
Yes, I should have probably been keeping track to see if you got all of them, but it's fine. You guys know how to contact us. Our phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime, my God.
Whoa.
No one ever does.
With your questions, comments, and theories. So for today... Emojis, yes. Please send us all your emojis. For today's trivia segment, I decided to pick a topic everyone loves and talk about Fishman Island Pirates, the new Fishman Pirates, and try and name those characters. We are using One Piece Wiki as usual. There's a lot of characters I've never heard of. And
so they're probably anime filler characters?
No, they usually indicate if they're anime filler characters. Okay. And I didn't see that indicated, or if I did, I ignored it accidentally. So we're going to try this.
Are we doing Fishman Island or just...
Or Sun Pirates?
So just the new Fishman Pirates and their affiliates. So those are not like squads, and not like... So I'll give you examples of what I'm not including, which I didn't even know existed. Like the Bombardment Squad, the Iron Shell Squad, the Sea Urchin Armor Spine Squad, the Deadly Poison Squad. We're not
naming them.
We're not including any of the animals either. So no sea lion, sea bear, sea elephant, sea gorilla, sea rhinoceros, sea giraffe, sea squirrel.
All right, we get it.
And okay, so why don't we get started? We're gonna go in the order you guys were listed. So it's Steve, then Dennis, then Sam, Kelly, and Steven. Sorry, Steven, you're not in a good position this week. So Steve, start us out.
Hody or Hordy Jones?
Not Hordy. No one's Hordy. Dennis.
Zayo.
Sam.
Dosun.
Kelly.
Is it like Daruma?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Steven.
Kyozo.
Yes. The cool one. Steve.
Ikaros Mooch.
Dennis.
I was trying to remember his name.
Would Surume count? Since technically
I had him in parentheses, so I will count that.
Cool.
What? He's an animal.
Fine. Should I not count that? Do all of you think I should not count that?
Oh no, I've been eliminated. Oh well.
No, Dennis, you're staying in. Okay. Sam.
Oh my God, that one guy whose name is always at the tip of my tongue.
Oh yes, that's all of them, Sam.
Who Robin like snaps in half.
3 seconds.
I can't remember his name. It's gonna sound so familiar the second you say
Sam,
it.
You're out. Kelly.
Hammond?
Yes.
That was the character Sam was trying to name.
Steve, was it? Steven?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Vanderdecken?
Yes.
I
Steve. Yeah. Affiliated. Steve?
Wadatsumi.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why One Piece Wiki did not have him, but he is most certainly one of them.
Yeah.
It's all, if Deccan's crew counts. Then
yeah. No, you're right. Even better that I don't have it here. Dennis.
I'm out. Steve took the one
right, yeah.
the last one that I had. No, that was like Wadatsumi was my last one that I had.
So Steve, this was a new round. So someone, if someone wants to stay in, you have to get one. So
Sam
missed one, right? Kelly.
Is there someone named like Nuru or Nunu?
Yeah. No, you got it.
Whoa, who was that?
It's a purple guy with glasses and a weird mustache. Look it up on One Piece Wiki. It's interesting.
Nuru?
Yeah, I hope you're not cheating, Kelly, because I don't know
No.
how the hell you knew that. Steven.
Jeez.
There's two
It's
left.
just some guy.
Two?
Two
Oh God, I can't even think.
that I have written. So if you get one, then
Oh yeah, no one's gonna get those.
Yeah, I don't know.
okay. Steve,
I'm out.
No, Kelly, you already are in this round. So Steve, to win, name one.
Can I describe how they look?
You have 3 seconds.
They're part fish and part man.
Okay, Kelly, you have 3 seconds to name one to win. Steve, if you could think of it right now.
I'm totally out.
Okay,
That was as good as I
so
get.
we're gonna do a tiebreaker in a second, but the last two were Kasagoba and Hari Senban.
Oh, Hari Senban!
Of course.
I'm gonna look this up because I want to know who the fuck they are.
Okay, so let's do. I want to get them up here too. So tiebreaker, and this is way easier. It's between Steve and Kelly. Name the Arlong pirates. Steve.
Arlong.
Kelly.
Hachi.
Any of them. 3 seconds. Steve.
Karubi.
Kelly.
Um,
You're gonna kick yourself. 3 seconds. And Steve, do you want to name any others for extra credit?
Chu.
Yes.
Momu doesn't count because he's an animal, right?
No, Momu would count here if he's a named animal. I should have said that.
Okay.
That's what I should.
Momu. Nami.
Yep.
And as far as I know, the rest of them are nameless.
Well, you would think, but they have names on
Data
One Piece
book.
Oh
Wiki.
yeah,
we
because
named
Databook Blue
Yeah.
Super Mode.
So there's
exists.
There's four of them. It is Pisaro, Kaneshiro, Take, Shioyaki. Do any of those mean anything?
All my
Steven?
favorites.
They're all here.
It's the name of my alt rock group. All right.
Taki sounds a little familiar, but I can't place him.
Well, he
Next
looks,
we got to name like Macros Gang or something.
Take looks like if Spandam were a fishman. Kind of.
It's weird. Yeah, these are guys that kind of had like one line or two, but the fishman that chases Usopp in the town that got flipped over does not have a name. How odd.
As far as we know, yeah. So congratulations, Steve. You were our winner this week. You will receive one donut. Is this your first win, Steve?
Yes, it's my
Congrats.
first one.
Yeah, congrats.
Well,
Fishman.
Amand is definitely not Amand is not a Charlotte family member, right?
I
No,
think
she
No,
is.
she is. She is. Yeah.
We'll talk
Oh.
about that more next week. And until
Yeah,
then,
because that screwed me because I named her and I got disqualified.
no, because at the time it was not confirmed, as far as I know. So we'll find out more about Amon next week. My name is Zach.
And my name is Steve, the
Goodbye, everyone.
winner chicken dinner.
See you next week, everyone.
All right.
See ya. Love you, bitch.
Heart-shaped emoji.
Oh, sorry, I got it wrong. It's supposed to be Charlotte Flumpy Space Princess.
Oh my glob.
Let's see.
Write that one down.
I am.